What is up, guys? Vincenzo from home of Milan coming back at you once again. Furthermore, today we got another match review versus Fiorentina. But before we get into it, make sure you guys are following us on Instagram, X, TikTok, and Bunches, all at home of Milan. We're always posting content and doing stuff on there. So make sure you guys are following us, all in the link in the description below. Without any further ado, guys, let's jump into this. So in one of the more back and forth kind of games against Fiorentina, it was a really entertaining game despite it being only a 1-0, but it was a very end-to-end game, back and forth, obviously at the San Siro. Um, Milan really didn't create a lot of chances in this half. They were really struggling, playing very, very sloppy. Milan not really creating a lot of chances in this half. I feel like they really struggled without Leao's pace and, just dynamism going forward. And Fiorentina played their game. They played their possession style of football. They played their pressing style. And Milan made it a lot easier than it was, playing very sloppy than it should have. And, just the constant Fiorentina press. We just couldn't handle it. But I believe with Leao, I think we could have hit them on the counter. But regardless, I feel like just defensively, I feel like we played very good. I feel like we were marking all the players that we needed to be. And Mike Mignon with another stellar performance to put in his Milan book. And he 100% won us the game, no question. Made tons of crucial saves to keep it level at half. And, leading up to the first goal, Luka Jovic made that pass to Teo Hernandez, who's through on goal. But he gets pushed by Parisi, thus resulting into a penalty, clear, stone cold penalty. And Teo does his job, tucks it away, and we're up 1-0 generously before the half. And despite Fiorentina playing the more dominant and possession style of football, Milan came away with the 1-0 lead at half. But we couldn't sleep. But unfortunately, in the second half, it was a bit of the same. Fiorentina pushing Milan, but defensively, Milan did well to counter. And unfortunately, it was another poor game from Samuel Chukwueze. It's getting kind of old now because Chukwueze hasn't really hit the ground running. He hasn't really done anything. He hasn't scored. I don't think he's had an assist either. But he just didn't do much in this game. We're really counting on him to make that difference, especially because Leao is gone. But he if he really wants a starting spot, he's gonna have to show it. And he's been very underwhelming so far since coming in, especially with all the hype. Including myself, I hopped on the hype train. I said, Chukwueze is that guy, but he hasn't really hit the ground running yet. But obviously, I do think he's miles clear of Salamakers and Messias by far. But it's just that little. I think he just needs a little push, or maybe just a goal and an assist, and it'll really boost up his confidence. The biggest chance of the second half was Luka Jovic missing a one-on-one opportunity with the goalkeeper. Teo Hernandez splits the defense with one pass going through the lines, and Jovic hits it straight at Tereciano. And what would have made the game a lot more comfortable and towards the end of the game, which it was very chaotic towards the end, just Fiorentina really wanted that goal, but we held our line, and that's very encouraging to see. And what could have made the game a lot more comfortable towards the end, especially because Fiorentina kept pushing, would have been an even more easier game if Jovic put away his chance, and that would have gave Jovic a lot more confidence going forward and really make his life at Milan a lot easier. But yeah, it's a very unencouraging still with Jovic. And it's something that not only me but the whole fan base has been preaching and saying that this guy, and it's the same things going forward. And we've said this so many times, week in and week out with Milan and with Jovic, and it's just super unencouraging. So I'm not going to go into that much, but I think the main headline for this game was the debut of 15-year-old Francesco Camarda coming in to replace Jovic for the last 10 minutes or so. And what a moment. What a moment for him, and what a moment for the fans in the San Siro roaring his name. And you can just see the look on his face, how he just was in disbelief. But although he didn't do much, it was just still super cool seeing a player like this, so young, get this opportunity. Um, Most definitely a lot sooner than a lot of people would have expected, because he was always kind of in the news for Milan fans. We knew who he was, right? This wasn't, no surprise. And due to our injuries, it was the only way, or rather the only reason why he got called up was because we just have so many injuries. But I think it's a good thing, kind of just dip his toes in the water a little bit, kind of get, a sense of what it's like playing at the San Siro, what it's like playing um, in a do or die game like this. It's only a 1-0 lead, kind of just do your thing. And I think it's for the best to kind of do this just for his development in the future. So I think it's important for Milan not to rush this development and to nurture Camarda, to just teach him the culture of the club and just keep him close to us and as long as possible, because we all know that the talent is there. There's a player in there, right? um I think the worst thing for Milan to do is just to treat him like we did with Colombo, just constantly sending him out on loan and just not developing him within the team. So I think, for the future, he still is only 15 years old. But I think, for the future, I think it's super exciting to see a player like this come through. And we know the talent. We've seen the goals that he scored at the youth level, and he's playing with players that are 4 years older than him. So I think that's super big. But yeah, I think the best thing that we can do is probably just keep him, nurture him, do what we can to kind of develop him as best as possible. So hopefully, we can, and hopefully he can be that player that we all want him to become, for the future of the club and for the national team as well. Yeah, with that being said, let's go to tops and flops. Obviously, Milan did not really play that well, but I mean, I think the star in this game was Mike Maignan. This was his game. He saved us 3 points on multiple occasions and recorded another great performance in his Milan career book. I think he's been such an important piece for us. And despite him having a lot of his injuries, when he is fit and when he is at the top of his level, he is unplayable, right? He's easily the best goalkeeper in the league. And definitely he is a top 5 goalkeeper in Europe. So no question about that. Mike Maignan, man of the match, no question. Now for flops, man, I think it's got to be Pobega. Pobega was absolutely terrible. Just giving the ball away so many times. Just passes not going to their man, sloppy. Um, and I saw a stat that Calabria, a defender, had not only more passes but more accurate passes than Pobega, who's a midfielder, and it's just absolutely mind-boggling how Pobega still gets into the starting 11. I don't think any of us see what Pioli sees in him, because the numbers don't lie, right? I mean, the stats are there. So I don't know if he's just not looking at the stats or he just has an agenda for Pobega. I have no idea. But regardless, Pobega flop. Top is Mike Maignan. But yeah, Milan came away with the 1-0. We sit in third place right now. So I think we're in a pretty good spot. The Derby d'Italia just ended, so the Milan, or excuse me, the Inter Juve game just ended, and they tied. So we sit 6 points behind Inter and 4 points behind Juve, who were in first and second. So I think it's encouraging. I think that was probably the best result, because obviously, depending on who would have won, it would have extended the lead, and it would have been a tougher hill to climb. But we I think we got the best result possible. We won, they tied, so we're 4 points behind second, 6 points behind first. And it's a long season, guys. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So I think there's still so much games left to be played. There's still so many points to be dropped and so many points to be earned. So I think we're in a great spot, and we play, I believe, Frosinone next. So that's definitely a must grab 3 points. Let's move on to Champions League preview just real quick to close it out. This is currently how the table is. We sit in third place But we're still in the mix. We're still in the mix. We're still in it, and we still have 2 games left to play. We played Borussia Dortmund on Tuesday, and the thing is with Dortmund, the story is that they've been super inconsistent this season. In their last 5 games, 3 wins, 2 losses, and it went win, loss, win, loss, win. So if the pattern continues, this is will be a win for us. But we're playing at home for this game, and you know that's obviously a massive plus going into this. And we're hoping to have Liao back for this, but I'm not too optimistic on that. I think he's gonna sit out for this one. But it's still a day-to-day story, but we'll keep you guys posted on that. And obviously, no Musa for this game because he is suspended, accumulated too many yellow cards. And again, goes back down to that disciplinary record. We just have so many just discipline problems in this team. So many red cards, so many accumulated yellows, and it clearly we're paying the price because now we're either going to see Krunic or Pobega playing this spot. So um, definitely a drop in quality there going from Musa to Krunic or Pobega. But on the positive side, we will have Giroud because obviously he's only suspended for Serie A. So in Champions League, we'll have him back, which is a massive plus. So no Jovic, most likely, but unfortunately no Camarda. But yeah, Giroud should play. And Pioli is reportedly going to switch back to a 4-2-3-1 with, I believe, Loftus-Cheek at the attacking mid spot. So that'll be exciting because Loftus-Cheek, I feel like he kind of thrives in those sort of spaces, breaking in between the lines, making those runs forward. And we saw it against PSG where he was just he was just a train. He was just a bull in a china shop just going forward. And most likely it'll be Reinders and one of Pobega or Krunic in that double pivot. So that'll probably be the best case for us. So yeah, and obviously I think the best case as well, the best case scenario is obviously we win the game. Because then at that point, depending what happens in the PSG Newcastle game, then we're at the top of the table, right? If we win in one of PSG or Newcastle, if they draw, whatever, then we go to the top of the table, and that I think relieves a lot of pressure on our back. But then we go to St. James Park at Newcastle on the last match day. So that'll be a very tough place to play. But regardless, I think, the last time out we played Borussia Dortmund, we played very well. It was unfortunate that we um, the score was 0-0, but I feel like we attacked a lot and we did very well to do what we had to do in Dortmund. But we won't have Liao. That's where the question marks are, is if are we gonna miss Liao in these sort of games? And obviously we will. We always miss Liao when he's not there. But I think the best case scenario is we have to capitalize on this opportunity, especially with this big Fiorentina win under our belt, right? We have a lot of momentum going forward. And if this is any time to get our season rolling, it's with this win in the Champions League. I think that'll do it for this episode, you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I want to know what you guys have to say about the Camarda debut. Obviously, that was super exciting. And obviously, the game versus Fiorentina, what we did right, what we did wrong. Who is your guys' flops and tops of the match? And obviously, what do you guys think of our Champions League, kind of situation going forward? Are we going to make it out? Are we going to completely go out, or are we going to go Europa League? So lots of exciting games and headlines and storylines to go through. So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao ragazzi.